then, must have been the 5th of June 1944, everywhere was at on the front doorstep looking up at the sky. And it was full of aircraft. From that horizon to that horizon, that horizon to that. Full of aircraft, just getting dark. I've never seen the noise, was incredible. And it went on for about a couple of hours. And then they all went, and the announcement came, VE Day. You could feel the tension draining away from everywhere. At long last, it's over. All the flags were going out, people were putting flags out everywhere, the pubs all opened up early, my father was so glad about that. And there were little services being held. A lot of people came in, and you could tell the sadness was powerful, you know, they lost people in the war. And it was not good for some people and wonderful for others. Very mixed, very, very mixed. The town itself was on a buzz, you could just tell it was. Everybody was laughing and joking and dancing around the streets and hello, and people who never spoke to each other that day.
I was 9 months old when the Second World War began. We lived in Earls Road off Manor Court, just opposite the Abbey Church. Initially, we didn't have an air raid shelter, so when we heard planes approaching, my dad led us to the outside toilet. This had a wooden door which was open at the top and the bottom. I heard the whining noise of a bomb and asked my mother what it was. She said, "Nasty fireworks." My dad put his hand against the wooden half of the door to prevent it from caving in as the bomb descended, and the blast from the bomb put pressure on his wrist, and it was broken. Our windows, some doors, and the chimney breast were damaged, and then I was whisked off to my grandparents, who lived in the country in Water Orton. Some houses in Manor Court Road were very badly bombed on that occasion, and people near us along the road were even killed.
I was 5 years old when Britain declared war on Germany on September 3rd, 1939. Growing up in Shustoke village during the war, we children had great freedom to roam anywhere. We had evacuees from Birmingham staying with us. Though our village only had occasional bombs dropped nearby, the warning sirens wailed most nights during the Blitz years of 1940 to 1942. We lived under strict blackout conditions. No street lights, blackout curtains and shutters to hide any light. Everyone carried gas masks and identity cards at all times. At school, we learned how to use our gas masks properly. Where Maxstoke Golf Club now stands was an Italian prisoner of war camp, with high wire fencing and British guards. The Forest of Arden golf course site housed a large American army camp. Soldiers preparing for D-Day would march through our village, and we children would shout, "Have you got any gum, chum?" They'd throw us chewing gum and chocolate, special treats when we were rationed to just 2 ounces of sweets weekly.
I was born in 1941 and lived at the dairy farm in Arnold's Lane, Maxstoke, until I was 12 years old. My father worked on the farm, and we had a large garden with all kinds of fruit and vegetables. We kept pigs and poultry, so alongside the rations we had plenty of food, including rabbits. I can remember that old oil drums were placed across a field and set alight at night to confuse the German planes en route to Coventry. There were several bomb holes on the fields, which were filled with water. They were not filled in until well after the end of the war. The American soldiers were housed in huts that were built in Packington Park before D-Day, and some tanks were kept in the area, especially on the old Hampton railway line. Later, a prisoner of war camp was built in Castle Lane to house the prisoners. The Italians came first, and they had to work on the local farms. They made baskets with the willow from branches from the River Blythe, which was very close to our house. They made a basket for me to attach to the handlebars of my little bike, and a large basket for my mother to collect eggs in. Some years after the end of the war, one of the former prisoners brought his family to live at Maxstoke, and he worked on one of the farms.